Embark on an epic journey where destiny weaves love, loss, and renewal into every heartbeat. Subscribe now for more riveting tales that ignite your imagination and touch your soul. Ethan and Caleb Weston were born into a world of wide-open skies and endless possibility on their family's sprawling Texas ranch. From the moment they first opened their eyes, the twin brothers were inseparable. As toddlers, they crawled side by side on the sun-dappled fields, giggling at the simple wonders of life, while their loving parents, Robert and Susan Weston, nurtured them with timeless values of integrity, perseverance, and an abiding love for the land. The ranch was more than a home. It was a canvas on which every day was painted with lessons of hard work and quiet awe. Ethan, with his thoughtful and patient nature, spent hours watching the gentle sway of the oak trees and the dance of dust motes in golden rays of sunlight. Caleb, on the other hand, was a spark of energy, a daredevil who raced his horse across the open plains and climbed every hill with boundless enthusiasm. Their contrasting temperaments created a perfect balance. When Ethan sensed the quiet pain of a scrape or a bruise, Caleb was there to distract him with tales of imagined adventure. And when Caleb's exuberance waned after a tumble, Ethan's calm presence offered solace and strength. Not far from the Weston Ranch lay the charming town of Meadowbrook, where Olivia and Rachel Bennett were growing up in a world filled with warmth and community. Raised by their gentle, creative parents who owned a small but beloved cafe, the Bennett sisters learned early the art of caring for others. Olivia, the elder by minutes, was meticulous and dependable, always planning ahead and ensuring every detail was perfect. Rachel, free-spirited and playful, found joy in spontaneity, her laughter a melody that could brighten the darkest corner of the cozy cafe. Though their approaches differed, the sisters complemented one another perfectly. Together, they created a harmony that resonated with everyone they met. Life in Meadowbrook moved at a deliberate, comforting pace. Summers were long and languid, filled with the scent of freshly baked pastries and the gentle hum of conversation over cups of steaming coffee. In the evenings, as the sun dipped low and painted the town in hues of amber, the Bennett sisters would often sit on the cafe's worn wooden porch, dreaming of adventures that lay just beyond the horizon. Little did they know that destiny had already begun weaving its intricate design, connecting them in a way that would forever alter the course of their lives. For Ethan and Caleb, every day on the ranch was a lesson in responsibility and resilience. Under the tutelage of their father, who taught them the value of every furrow plowed and every harvest reaped, the brothers learned that true strength came from caring for the land and each other. Evenings were spent around a flickering campfire, listening to their mother's stories of times past, of the hardships and triumphs that had defined the legacy of the Weston family. The stars overhead served as silent witnesses to their dreams, their hopes, and the unbreakable bond between them. As the years rolled gently by, the two families lived parallel lives, each enriched by love, simplicity, and a deep connection to their roots. Unbeknownst to them, the threads of fate were gradually intertwining, setting the stage for a meeting that would challenge, change, and ultimately redefine the very meaning of family, love, and destiny. The annual Meadowbrook Festival was a cherished tradition, a time when the town gathered to celebrate its heritage with music, laughter, and the promise of new beginnings. That summer, the festival buzzed with an energy that felt both familiar and exhilarating. At the Weston Ranch, Ethan and Caleb prepared with care, selecting their finest horses for a spirited demonstration. The brothers, whose bond was as deep as the ancient oak trees of their homestead, had always seen the festival as an opportunity to share a piece of their life with the community, proudly displaying the fruits of their labor. At the same time, in the heart of Meadowbrook, Olivia and Rachel set about their day with equal parts precision and anticipation. The Bennett sisters transformed their family cafe stall into a small haven of warmth, a place where townsfolk could enjoy a comforting cup of coffee or sample a freshly baked treat. The scent of cinnamon, vanilla, and roasted coffee beans mingled with the summer air, inviting passers-by to pause and savor the moment. Both sisters were determined to make this festival one of the most memorable yet, believing that the simple acts of kindness and connection could transform lives. Fate, however, has a way of intervening when hearts are most open. As the festival reached its zenith, the paths of the two families converged at a bustling junction of laughter, music, and the shared rhythm of community life. Caleb, with his ever-adventurous spirit, found himself near the Bennett stall. In a serendipitous moment of chaos, a heavy tray laden with freshly made pastries tumbled from Rachel's hands. In the blink of an eye, Caleb's instinct took over. He dashed forward, catching the tray just before it met the ground. The relief and gratitude in Rachel's eyes shone brighter than the summer sun, and in that fleeting moment, a spark was lit that neither could ignore. Meanwhile, a few steps away, Ethan noticed Olivia struggling with a stubborn sack of flour that refused to budge. Without hesitation, he moved to assist, their shared strength turning a mundane task into a silent conversation of gratitude and mutual respect. The simple exchanges carried an unspoken promise of deeper connection, a whisper of destiny that neither family could have predicted. Throughout the day, as the festival unfolded like a tapestry of vibrant moments, both families found themselves drawn into conversations that felt both timeless and revolutionary. Laughter echoed beneath the blue sky, and for a few precious hours, every worry was forgotten. The gentle cadence of shared stories and dreams laid the foundation for bonds that would soon transform their worlds. As the evening approached and the festival lights began to twinkle like stars on earth, the undeniable sense of connection deepened. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring these souls together at precisely the right moment, a moment that heralded the beginning of a journey neither family would ever forget. In the days following the festival, excitement rippled through Meadowbrook like a gentle summer breeze. For Caleb and Rachel, that fateful encounter blossomed into an irresistible invitation. Caleb, ever the bold adventurer, suggested a sunset horseback ride along the rugged trails that bordered the town. With the sky painted in hues of pink and gold, they set off, their laughter mingling with the soft rustle of the wind through the tall grasses. The ride was both exhilarating and tender, each hoofbeat a silent promise of the adventures that lay ahead, and every shared glance an affirmation that their connection was something extraordinary. Meanwhile, a quieter but equally significant rendezvous was unfolding for Ethan and Olivia. Drawn together by a mutual love of reflection and nature, they decided to spend a day exploring the vast expanses of the Weston Ranch. As they ambled through fields awash in the mellow light of the late afternoon, their conversation meandered from shared dreams to the personal stories that had shaped them. In the gentle silence that followed, with the distant call of a hawk overhead and the rustling leaves providing a subtle soundtrack, they discovered a peace that was both profound and rare. Their shared moments of reflection revealed a depth of understanding that needed no grand gestures, only the quiet assurance that they were exactly where they were meant to be. For both pairs, these first dates were more than simple outings. They were the genesis of an emotional journey that promised endless discovery. Caleb's daring ride with Rachel ignited a spark of passion and spontaneity, while Ethan's reflective walk with Olivia nurtured a slow, blossoming love built on trust and empathy. Each moment was filled with the promise of new beginnings and the excitement of uncharted territories, both in the heart and in the world around them. As word of these burgeoning romances spread quietly through the town, there was a palpable sense that something extraordinary was unfolding, one that blended the youthful exuberance of newfound love with the timeless wisdom of deep connection. In those precious hours of first dates, laughter, and shared silences, both couples felt as if they were rewriting their destinies. Every whispered word and stolen glance resonated with the hope that this was just the beginning of a story far grander than either had ever imagined. By the time twilight gave way to starlight, both pairs returned home with hearts full of promise. The echoes of that first evening, of daring adventures and gentle confidences, remained with them, setting the stage for a future where love, challenge, and destiny would all intertwine to create a tapestry of unforgettable moments. In the weeks that followed, the early sparks of romance transformed into a glowing flame of commitment and deep affection. Caleb and Rachel's relationship, sparked by that daring sunset ride, evolved as naturally as the changing colors of a Texas sky. Their days became a montage of shared adventures, impromptu road trips along winding back roads, moonlit strolls through meadows, and spirited discussions over crackling campfires. Each shared experience forged an unbreakable bond, as if every heartbeat synchronized to the rhythm of the open land. Their passion was wild and unrestrained, tempered by moments of vulnerability that revealed the true depth of their souls. At the same time, Ethan and Olivia's connection grew in quiet strength and unspoken understanding. Their love was like the steady pulse of the earth beneath them, reliable, enduring, and profoundly grounding. Over leisurely afternoons spent tending to the ranch, the couple discovered the art of communication beyond words. In the soft murmur of the wind and the gentle rustling of leaves, they found a dialogue that spoke to their innermost hopes and fears. Olivia's gentle pragmatism and Ethan's thoughtful introspection created a balance that enriched every shared moment, turning the mundane into the magical. As the seasons shifted, the relationships deepened further. Caleb and Rachel began to dream aloud of a life defined by freedom and adventure, their visions interwoven with daring plans for the future, whether that meant exploring new trails, embracing spontaneous opportunities, or even daring to challenge the status quo. Their passion was a vibrant testament to the power of living in the moment, yet also a reminder that every daring leap came with the promise of growth and self-discovery. Meanwhile, Ethan and Olivia's bond grew into a quiet, steady force that nurtured not only their hearts, but also the legacy of the Weston Ranch. Their conversations turned toward building a future that honored the values instilled in them as children: resilience, honor, and unwavering love. Every shared smile, every reassuring touch, reinforced their commitment to one another and to the life they had built together. The depth of their connection was reflected in the way they supported each other through challenges, turning moments of uncertainty into opportunities for mutual strength. It wasn't long before both couples began to see marriage not as an endpoint, but as a natural progression of the love that had steadily taken root in their hearts. The realization that their lives were intertwined with destiny itself added a sense of inevitability to their blossoming relationships. Friends and family started to whisper that perhaps these two pairs, united by fate and forged in the fires of shared experiences, were destined to build something extraordinary together, a legacy that would outlast the trials of time. As the bonds between Caleb and Rachel and Ethan and Olivia solidified, the world around them seemed to shift. Every sunrise brought with it new promises, and every starlit night rekindled their hopes. Their love stories, though distinct in their expression, were united by a common thread of resilience, passion, and an unyielding belief in destiny. The future, painted with both uncertainty and promise, beckoned them to take a leap of faith, a leap that would soon be celebrated with joy and togetherness in a grand union that neither couple could have foreseen. The anticipation in Meadowbrook reached a fever pitch as the day of the double wedding approached. The entire town buzzed with excitement, for it was rare to witness two intertwined destinies celebrated in one grand event. That evening, under a velvety sky strewn with glittering stars, both couples, Ethan and Olivia and Caleb and Rachel, found themselves on the precipice of a new beginning. In a gesture of mutual spontaneity and shared affection, the Weston twins had chosen to propose on the very same night. Surprised and overjoyed, Olivia and Rachel accepted their proposals in an instant, their hearts dancing in unison with the rhythm of the night. Preparations for the wedding transformed the Weston Ranch into a breathtaking celebration of love. Fairy lights hung from the ancient oak trees, casting a soft, enchanting glow over the gathering. Floral arrangements in vibrant hues decorated every corner, and the air was redolent with the scent of blooming jasmine and roses. Friends and family from near and far gathered to witness this union of hearts, a testament to the intertwined destinies that had brought these two couples together. The ceremony itself was a heartwarming blend of tradition and personal touches. With the ranch's sprawling fields serving as the backdrop, Ethan and Caleb stood side by side, a reflection of the lifelong bond they shared. As they exchanged heartfelt vows with Olivia and Rachel, the words spoken were not merely promises, but declarations of a love that had been nurtured over years of shared joys and sorrows. Each vow carried with it the weight of history, the hope of the future, and the unspoken understanding that no matter what challenges lay ahead, their union was meant to endure. The reception that followed was nothing short of magical. Under the soft glow of lanterns and the gentle strumming of an acoustic guitar, laughter and music filled the night air. Guests found themselves swept up in the infectious joy of the moment, celebrating not just the union of two couples, but the merging of two families, each with its own rich history and cherished traditions. Toasts were made, stories were shared, and for one night, every heart in Meadowbrook beat in unison. As the newlyweds shared their first dance beneath the shimmering sky, there was a profound sense of promise in the air, a silent acknowledgement that this was not the end, but merely the beginning of a shared journey. The double wedding was more than an event. It was a celebration of love, resilience, and the magic that happens when destiny weaves its intricate tapestry. That night, under the watchful gaze of the stars, both couples pledged to walk hand in hand into the unknown future, carrying with them the hope that love, above all, would be their guiding light. In the months that followed the wedding, the glow of newlywed bliss slowly gave way to the rhythms and routines of everyday married life. For Ethan and Olivia, each day became an exercise in finding balance between the romance of their past and the responsibilities of the present. Olivia's keen organizational skills brought order to the financial and operational challenges of running the sprawling Weston ranch, while Ethan, ever the gentle soul, learned to rely on her steadiness as he navigated the uncertainties of managing a legacy that spanned generations. Their mornings began with shared cups of coffee on the porch as the sun rose, a quiet ritual that symbolized their commitment to starting each day together. Meanwhile, Caleb and Rachel's life took on a dynamic energy of its own. Their marriage was marked by spontaneity and the thrill of adventure, as Caleb's restless spirit and Rachel's unyielding passion led them on countless impromptu journeys. Some days, they'd leave the ranch in the middle of the afternoon to chase a setting sun along dusty backroads. Other days, they'd dive into long, spirited debates about their future plans, the excitement of possibilities making every moment feel like a daring escapade. Their home was a vibrant hub of creativity and unpredictability, a testament to their belief that life was meant to be lived boldly and with no regrets. Yet, as the initial euphoria of their wedding faded, both couples soon encountered the inevitable challenges that come with balancing dreams and duties. The very ambition that had once driven Ethan and Caleb to expand the ranch began to place an ever-growing burden on their shoulders. Long days blurred into sleepless nights, and the once shared laughter was sometimes replaced by anxious silences. Olivia, always the anchor, found herself not only managing household affairs, but also becoming the emotional support for Ethan, who struggled with the weight of expectations. Similarly, Caleb's constant drive for progress started to clash with the tender care that Rachel longed for, leading to small sparks of discord that threatened to fan into larger conflagrations. The adjustment to married life was a gradual process, one filled with both tender victories and unexpected setbacks. The couple soon learned that the harmony of their early days required continuous nurturing. Evenings often found them gathered around a modest dinner table, discussing the day's trials and triumphs with equal candor. In those moments, the importance of pausing and reconnecting with each other became abundantly clear. The ranch, with its sprawling fields and silent wisdom, taught them that the real measure of success was not in relentless expansion, but in the quiet moments of shared understanding and support. In time, both couples began to carve out routines that allowed space for both ambition and intimacy. The balancing act was delicate, sometimes teetering on the edge of overwhelming responsibility, yet always guided by the love that had brought them together. Through it all, they discovered that marriage was not merely a union of hearts but a partnership in the truest sense, a commitment to weathering storms and celebrating joys, no matter how small. As the demands of ranch life grew, the once harmonious routine began to fracture. With a burning ambition to expand their business, Ethan and Caleb found themselves working longer hours, pushing both their physical and emotional limits. What had once been a dream nurtured on open fields and warm laughter slowly transformed into a burdensome race against time. The relentless pace started to sow seeds of tension at home. Olivia and Rachel, who had once been the comforting anchors of their families, now found themselves stretched thin, trying to balance their own needs with those of their increasingly stressed husbands. At first, the signs were subtle, a missed dinner here, a hurried goodbye there. But as the weeks turned into months, the cracks in the foundation became impossible to ignore. Caleb's unyielding determination to seize every opportunity began to clash with Rachel's longing for quality time and emotional connection. Their once effervescent conversations gave way to terse exchanges, and small disagreements escalated into simmering resentments. Meanwhile, Ethan, who had always prided himself on his calm demeanor, began to feel the weight of exhaustion bearing down on him. Olivia, though ever patient and caring, worried that the man she had fallen in love with was slowly being overtaken by the pressures of ambition and the demands of an unrelenting schedule. Inside the spacious halls of the ranch, silence started to replace the easy camaraderie that once reigned. The long hours of work, intended to secure a prosperous future, instead created an invisible barrier between the couples. What had always been a partnership built on trust and mutual respect now found itself tested by the relentless pursuit of progress. Every missed bedtime and every hurried conversation chipped away at the foundation of their once unbreakable bond. The tension wasn't confined solely to the couples. The brothers themselves, whose bond had been their greatest strength, began to disagree on the best way forward. Ethan's cautious, measured approach clashed with Caleb's more audacious, risk-taking nature. Arguments that started as quiet disagreements soon escalated into full-blown conflicts, echoing across the ranch and deepening the rift between them. The unity that had once defined the Weston legacy was showing signs of strain, and every decision felt like a step closer to irrevocable change. In those difficult moments, the ranch's vast landscape seemed to echo with memories of simpler times, of shared laughter, heartfelt conversations, and the dreams of a future built on love rather than ambition. Yet the pressure to succeed was relentless, and the brothers pressed on, determined to secure a legacy for themselves and their families. But as the pursuit of expansion took its toll, it became painfully clear that success was coming at the cost of their happiness. The struggle was not just about the numbers or the business, it was about the very essence of what mattered most. In the long, silent hours of the night, both couples began to wonder whether the price of progress was worth the loss of the intimate connection that had once made every day feel so rich with possibility. One stifling evening, after weeks of mounting tension and unspoken grievances, the fragile balance that had held the families together finally shattered. The air inside the Weston homestead was thick with frustration and sorrow. That night, a heated argument erupted between the brothers. Ethan insisted on a cautious approach to protect their legacy, while Caleb was determined to risk everything for rapid expansion. Their voices, raised in anger and desperation, filled the once peaceful rooms, and it wasn't long before their clashing words spilled over into the lives of their wives. Olivia and Rachel, who had long played the role of peacemakers, found themselves caught in the middle of an emotional maelstrom. Rachel, weary from her own mounting frustrations, confronted Caleb with tears and sharp words that reflected the pain of feeling unheard and abandoned. Meanwhile, Olivia tried in vain to bridge the widening gap between Ethan and his brother, her gentle words dissolving in the charged atmosphere. Each argument, each bitter word, felt like a step further away from the loving family they once knew. The bonds that had been so carefully built over years of shared history were now fraying under the strain of relentless pressure. That night marked a turning point. The echoes of anger and regret reverberated long after the voices had quieted. In the cold light of dawn, the brothers awoke to a silence that was heavy with remorse, a silence that spoke of irreparable damage and the loss of something once cherished. The once unbreakable connection between Ethan and Caleb now felt like a distant memory, replaced by a gulf that seemed impossible to bridge. Olivia and Rachel, hearts aching from the turmoil, realized that the dreams they had once nurtured were now overshadowed by conflict and pain. In the days that followed, the entire household was shrouded in a pall of uncertainty. The tension was palpable in every whispered conversation and every downcast glance. Both couples found themselves questioning the choices they had made, wondering if the pursuit of success had blinded them to what truly mattered, each other. The breaking point had not only fractured the bond between the brothers, but had also left deep wounds in the hearts of the women who had once believed in a shared destiny built on love and unity. For a time, it seemed as though the family would drift irrevocably apart, the promises of the past dissolving into the harsh light of reality. The echoes of that fateful night continued to haunt them, a reminder that even the strongest bonds could be tested to their very limits by the relentless demands of ambition and the ever-present specter of regret. Not long after that tumultuous night, fate intervened in the most unexpected way. One evening, as the weight of their struggles pressed heavily on his soul, Ethan decided to take a solitary ride on his favorite trail, a route that wound through the quiet, starlit expanse of the ranch. Hoping that the solitude might ease the pain of loss and discord, he mounted his trusted horse and set off into the night, each hoofbeat echoing like a quiet prayer for redemption. But nature, in all its unpredictable wisdom, had other plans. As Ethan navigated a particularly narrow bend on the trail, his horse became spooked by a sudden rustle in the underbrush. In an instant, the calm was shattered. The animal bolted, its hooves drumming a frantic beat against the dry earth. Ethan clutched the reins, his heart pounding with fear and desperation, but it was too late. The horse reared violently, throwing him from its back. In that heart-stopping moment, the world seemed to pause, and time stretched out in a long, agonizing second before he crashed onto the rugged ground. Miles away, Caleb was at the ranch, deep in thought about the ongoing conflicts and the mounting pressure that had begun to erode his own spirit. Suddenly, an overwhelming, inexplicable sense of dread gripped him, a gut-wrenching feeling that something was terribly wrong. Without a word, he abandoned his work and raced out of the house, driven by an instinct he could neither explain nor ignore. As Caleb reached the familiar trail, his pulse pounded in his ears. There, illuminated by the soft glow of the moon and the flickering dance of distant stars, lay Ethan. The sight of his injured brother stirred a torrent of emotions, regret, guilt, and a deep, aching sorrow for the bond that had been strained by their relentless pursuit of success. Caleb rushed to Ethan's side, his hands trembling as he carefully cradled his brother's head, whispering promises of care and reconciliation. In that quiet moment beneath the endless night sky, the harsh reality of their fractured dreams and broken promises became undeniable. The accident was not merely a twist of fate, but a stark wake-up call, a jolt that forced both brothers and their families to confront the consequences of their relentless ambitions. As Caleb waited by Ethan's side, the silence between them spoke louder than any argument ever could, a plea for forgiveness, for healing, and for the chance to rebuild what had once been unbreakable. The accident left Ethan with more than physical scars. It carved deep emotional wounds that could not be ignored. As he lay recovering in the quiet confines of a modest hospital room, the stark reality of his vulnerability set in. The long hours of tension, the missed opportunities for reconciliation, and the weight of unspoken grievances suddenly became painfully clear. Caleb, who never left his brother's side, carried a burden of guilt that matched Ethan's own regret. In the sterile silence of that room, every beep of the monitor echoed like a reminder of the preciousness of life and the fragility of the bonds they had taken for granted. In the days that followed, Olivia and Rachel visited frequently, their presence a gentle balm to the wounds that extended beyond the physical. The near-tragic event forced everyone to pause and reflect on what had been lost in the pursuit of ambition. The sisters, once solely defined by their roles as supportive partners, now saw themselves as integral to the healing process. They spoke softly about dreams left unfulfilled, about the laughter that once filled the ranch, and about the possibility of reclaiming a future built on love rather than endless striving. The accident became a catalyst, a sudden, unwelcome interruption that nevertheless brought into sharp focus the truth that had long been buried beneath business plans and rushed decisions. In hushed conversations held in hospital corridors and quiet evenings spent in deep reflection, both families began to acknowledge that the relentless push for success had blinded them to the simple, enduring joys of the present. The long hours, the constant strain, and the ceaseless ambition had come at a cost too high to bear. For the first time in many months, the once distant dream of a harmonious life together seemed within reach. Caleb, overcome with remorse, vowed to make amends not only to Ethan, but to everyone who had suffered from the relentless pace they had imposed on themselves. Olivia and Rachel, with gentle determination, set about ensuring that the healing process was not just physical but emotional, a journey back to the love that had once bound their families so closely. That fateful accident had, in its own harsh way, become a wake-up call, a stark reminder that life was as fragile as the light of dawn and that every moment was precious. With hearts heavy yet hopeful, both couples began to see that the path forward must be measured not by the relentless pursuit of expansion, but by the quiet, enduring commitment to care for one another. In the gentle hum of recovery and the silent promises exchanged in those long nights, the seeds of a renewed love and understanding were sown, one that would eventually blossom into a future where family, forgiveness, and unity took center stage. In the months following Ethan's recovery, the winds of change began to sweep slowly across the Weston homestead. The accident had served as a stark reminder that the relentless drive for success was not worth sacrificing the love and unity that had once defined the family. Gradually, The brothers and their wives began to reassess their priorities, seeking a new balance that honored both their dreams and the deep, enduring bonds they shared. Ethan and Caleb, once divided by a rift that seemed impossible to mend, started to rebuild their connection with careful deliberation. Long, thoughtful conversations replaced hurried arguments. They revisited the old trails of their youth, where every step was a reminder of the simplicity and beauty of a life lived in harmony with nature. Together, they devised plans that respected the legacy of the ranch while embracing a more sustainable pace. It wasn't about abandoning ambition entirely, but about rediscovering the joy in every small moment: a shared cup of coffee at sunrise, a quiet walk under the sprawling sky, and evenings spent in the gentle glow of the firelight. Olivia and Rachel, too, embraced the challenge of forging a new path. Recognizing that the strain of relentless expectations had dimmed the light of their once unshakable optimism, they began to infuse their days with moments of quiet reflection and joyful spontaneity. They organized small family gatherings, simple picnics under the vast Texas sky, and long, leisurely dinners that allowed space for genuine connection. In these moments, the families rediscovered the true meaning of togetherness, a shared understanding that love was not measured in grand gestures or rapid progress, but in the steady, unyielding support that they offered one another every day. Together, the two couples and the Weston brothers slowly restored the delicate equilibrium that had once been the foundation of their lives. The days became a careful dance of work and play, ambition and introspection, a rhythm that allowed for both progress and the quiet, essential moments of healing. They learned to celebrate small victories and to forgive the inevitable setbacks, understanding that every step forward was a testament to their resilience and love. As the seasons turned and the land blossomed with renewed vigor, the families found themselves once again laughing together beneath the stars. The scars of the past, though never forgotten, had begun to fade into the background of a life rebalanced by compassion and understanding. The ranch, with its endless fields and whispering winds, stood as a silent witness to their rebirth, a reminder that even after the darkest nights, dawn always brought a promise of a new beginning. In their quiet commitment to rediscovering balance, the Westons and Bennetts found that the truest form of success was not measured in the expansion of their business, but in the strength of their bonds and the depth of their shared love. It was a hard-won lesson, carved out of pain and regret, but one that promised a future where family and forgiveness were the guiding lights. As the passage of time gently smoothed away the harsh edges of conflict, life on the ranch transformed into a celebration of renewed love and unity. The once fractured bonds had grown stronger, tempered by the trials they had endured. Ethan and Caleb now worked side by side with a shared purpose, a deeper understanding that success was best achieved not through relentless ambition but through careful balance and mutual care. Their reconciled brotherhood had become a symbol of hope, a promise that no matter how dark the storm, the light of togetherness would always prevail. Olivia and Rachel, too, blossomed in the nurturing environment of renewed trust and understanding. Their home became a haven of warmth and stability, a place where laughter returned like a long-lost friend. Every evening, as they sat together under a tapestry of stars much like the night of their engagement, they reflected on how far they had come, from the heights of euphoric celebration to the depths of despair, and ultimately to a future defined by grace and resilience. The lessons of the past had been etched into every corner of the ranch, from the scarred fence posts that bore silent witness to storms weathered, to the gentle rustle of the fields that whispered stories of hope and new beginnings. Together, the Westons and Bennetts learned that life was an ever-changing tapestry, where every thread, whether vibrant or subdued, contributed to the beauty of the whole. They had discovered that true success was measured not in numbers or accolades, but in the quality of the moments shared and the love that endured every trial. Now, with the specter of past struggles replaced by the promise of tomorrow, both couples embarked on new adventures, small, everyday adventures that celebrated the joy of simply being together. They planned modest projects for the ranch, moments of family celebration, and quiet evenings filled with reflection and gratitude. Every sunrise and sunset was now a reminder of the promise that even after the most trying times, life had a way of healing and flourishing anew. In that enduring embrace of life's unpredictability, they forged a future built on the foundation of their shared history, a future where challenges were met with collective strength and where every obstacle became a stepping stone toward a richer, deeper love. As the horizon stretched out before them in hues of hope and possibility, they knew, without a shadow of doubt, that no matter what life brought, they would always find their way back to each other. Their hearts, once burdened by ambition and strife, now beat in unison, a powerful testament to the fact that true unity could weather any storm. And so, under the endless Texas sky and amidst the enduring spirit of the land that had witnessed their struggles and triumphs, the families embraced a future that was not without its challenges, but rich in promise. In every shared laugh, every quiet moment of reflection, and every bold step forward, they discovered that the love they nurtured was the very force that would carry them safely into the dawn of a new day. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to share your thoughts. Your support helps bring more amazing stories to life. See you in the next one.